Dettmann here, another edition.
Hey there, everyone. Nick Dettmann here, another edition of the Dettmann Media Podcast. Really glad you can join me here today. We've got a lot of great topics to discuss, where we will discuss, among many other things, is voice search future and SEO, as well as the new changes coming up for Hootsuite. Thank you again for joining the Dettmann Media Podcast, where we discuss social media marketing tips and trends, as well as digital marketing tips and trends related to website design, website analytics, SEO, and many other things. Hopefully, some of this content here can help you achieve your social media or digital media marketing initiatives and strategies. So again, thanks so much for joining me here on today's podcast. As a reminder, if you don't already, please head over to my blog and subscribe to my blog, to where I regularly post updates on the latest trends, tips, industry news related to social media and digital marketing. And you can do that by going to nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. Again, nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. And you can get those updates delivered right to your email inbox. So again, thanks for joining me here on the Dettmann Media Podcast. Like I said, we've got a couple things to talk about and kind of some lot of information to talk about with those topics. So let's just dive right on into it. So the first topic we're going to go over here today has to do with voice searching, its future, as well as search engine optimization tips. Where I work, I've been tasked to research voice search options to implement into our overall marketing strategy. This is a really kind of new area for me. I know the concept of voice searching has been around for, I believe it's close to a decade now, with several different platforms through Apple and Google, like Alexa and Siri and stuff like that. So, so in the process of doing some research here for the company I work for, a lot of data is out there related to voice search and where it is right now, and what its future looks like. And through some of that research here, I thought I'd share some of those numbers with you here today. So the first one here is Google reports that 27% of the online global population is using voice search on mobile. A Gartner study predicts that 30% of all browsing sessions will include voice search by 2020. So I believe this study came out, maybe that site came out a year or two ago. So then also, according to Google, 52% of smart speaker owners keep them in a common room, such as a living room. 25% of these people keep them in their bedroom, and 22% keep a smart speaker assistant in their kitchen. Among smart speaker owners who regularly use them, 62% will make a purchase using voice technology. A 2018 study from Bright Local found that 58% of consumers used voice search to find a local business in 2017, and 46% of people using voice search daily are searching for local businesses. And the last bullet point here related to that is, according to an Adobe Analytics survey, the most common voice searches on smart speakers are asking for music, which not really a big surprise, especially if it's in the kitchen. You kind of want that music playing as you're getting dinner or something, or preparing for a gathering of some sort. And the weather forecast is set 64%. Again, really no surprise there, especially if those things are in the if your speaker is in the kitchen or even the living room or the bedroom. Certainly one of those things we want to find out first thing in the morning. Others are 53% are used for fun questions, 47% for online search, 46% for news, and 34% for asking directions. So a lot of interesting data there, and really kind of showing the continued involvement of voice search and where it's heading. So, and in the process of going through these numbers, it got me a lot more thinking about search engine results. And we'll kind of talk about that here in just a second. But again, going back to voice searching, there are several companies that walk you through the process in getting set up, how to update, how to access analytics, insights, and more. This is not a pitch for either of those. That's not what I'm here for, but more or less to provide insight and tips if you do decide to think about adopting voice search into your overall marketing strategies, to basically just kind of do your homework. And when I did look through several options, I noticed some companies are more difficult than others in terms of how to set up your profile. A lot of it can kind of be very confusing text and information. And there are companies that let you make a refundable down payment so you can speak with a marketing expert for onboarding, and then that person walks you through the process of setup, integration, and analytics, and then you can make a decision to proceed or not. And to me, I feel that that's probably the best way to go, especially if you're someone like me who's really just kind of starting to get the grasp of this concept and starting to utilize it and implement it into a marketing strategy. You want somebody that's, lack of a better term, just really kind of bring it down in terms of terminology and, again, lack of a better term, dumb it down for you, so to really make it simple for you to understand. So, but again, going back to what I was saying about how this is all started thinking about search engine optimization, when I talked to this one company, they talked about, well, we would want keywords that you would want people to say in order to be able to trigger a search. So again, that got me thinking about SEO, or search engine optimization. And again, like I said, during that onboarding, the company wants to find out from you what keywords you'd like to help trigger that result. And so again, so here's some kind of those tips and ways of thinking on how to improve your SEO and things that you need to consider if you're putting together a voice search marketing strategy. And certainly you want keywords. Really identify what are the keywords that represent what your company or business is all about. And one way to do that too is through a process called on-site SEO, and that is where you have keywords and or phrases directly on your website. So obviously your business would be considered a keyword, and then what kind of industry, such as lawnmowers. You can say you certainly want lawnmowers as a keyword. So when someone puts in a search term or phrase, Google crawls websites that are indexed, which you can do through Google Search Console, which is a free tool to help the person potentially find what you're looking for. And the on-site SEO is one of the easiest SEO fixes one can make. But one thing to keep in mind too is after you've made some major updates to your website, you certainly want to kind of re-index and refile your sitemap and your keywords with Google, just to make sure that stuff is still being searchable through Google and its crawling mechanisms. Another way to improve your SEO is working on your external strategies, such as through email marketing or social media marketing. Sending links via email or posting direct links on social media or other ways to drive traffic to your website. And then an extension of the external strategy is doing something called a website audit. There are several free or paid-for companies that offer website audit services that can scan your website for detectable errors, and those errors can include broken links, indexing, page speeds, page headings, and so forth. I've got a link in my blog that kind of helps you with SEO best practices. It is a very long read, I'll forewarn you on that, but it is a high-quality read. So again, that is on my blog at nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. And the last note here about this topic is an audit can also tell you your website's health through a score. And again, I've got another link to read that story as well, on how you can improve your health of your website with its scores in its scorecard. And the higher the score, obviously, your website has, the better chance of Google not only finding it, but also putting it into a search result, as opposed to a site that may have a lower score. Google may recognize that site as a potential spam website. So certainly keeping up a high website score is important in SEO strategy, just to make sure Google is not only finding it and putting in search results, but also it is making sure that your site is valid and it's not in spammy in content or things of that nature. So moving to the next topic here, it's actually, we typically go over just 3 topics, but today we're just going to do 2. But like I said before, both of the topics revolve a lot of discussion. and insights and so forth. So that's why we're just going to spend it on 2 today. One has to do with Hootsuite and some changes that they've made, and also a recent company purchase that really is going to help bolster some of those changes. So if you're a Hootsuite user, such as myself, but if you haven't already seen this, you will likely see it soon. I have, so that's why I bring it to your attention. It's check out all the new features being released in Hootsuite. You can expect to see these features added to your account over the next week. Hootsuite's single-step Facebook authentication now makes it easier to connect multiple Instagram business accounts to Hootsuite at the same time. In Hootsuite Inbox and Streams, you can now see and engage with your brand's LinkedIn video posts and comments, and it's available on the desktop and mobile. If you use Facebook Messenger bots to automate your communication in Hootsuite Inbox, you can now view responses to both generic and button templates. And the Trello app has a new look and feel. You now use the Trello app to add due dates and image attachments from a post in Hootsuite to a Trello card. During a recent presentation that Hootsuite gave, Hootsuite focused on customer communication via social, and in the process, it announced a purchase of Spark Central. According to the presentation, Spark Central is a social customer care platform helping some of the world's most customer-focused brands, such as Slack, Citizen, Emirates, NG, and AXA, deliver exceptional service via social messaging channels, including SMS, WhatsApp, WeChat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and many other messaging channels. It was also revealed during the presentation that about 46% of social users want communication with a business in less than 1 hour. It is believed and hoped that this integration of Hootsuite and Spark Central, that customer care is enhanced and it will enrich the communication that companies have with consumers, specifically on social media. And so that leads into why the change. Well, 2020, as we know, was a year of change, and it looks like many of those changes are going to stay permanently or long-term, if not permanently. Because of the pandemic, we are still in many ways forced to do things without person-to-person interaction and doing everything online, as we all know. So more employees will be likely working from remote on a more regular basis, and therefore reliance on mobile technology is arguably at its highest point so far in history. In addition to, according to a report, impatience is also growing. Thus, maintaining communication and being on top of messaging will be key and challenging going forward. I do have a link to Hootsuite's full presentation on my blog at nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. I just bring that up because as we know, we need to always make sure we're having that lines of communication open, regardless if it's social media or telephone or email, whichever way you communicate. But we're certainly in an era where digital is supreme and people interact on digital and on social media. So therefore, it's important to maintain those social interactions and make them as personal as possible. So that's why I bring that change and that announcement to you. So that about wraps up today's podcast. Really, again, thank you so much for listening today, and hopefully these things here we chatted about can bode well for you and help you with your social media and digital marketing strategies. Again, one more time, if you don't already, please head on over to my blog. That is nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. When you get over there, there'll be a chance to subscribe to the blog. Certainly appreciate it if you do. That way you can get stories, industry tips, and so forth delivered right to your email inbox. Certainly would appreciate that. And also, you can hit me up on Twitter, and that is Nick_Dettmann, Dettmann. And you can reach me that way. Certainly would love to hear your feedback on the podcast, making sure things that we're going over have been useful for you, and see if there's any topics you would like me to go over and discuss. So certainly would love to hear from you. So again, thanks so much for listening. Until next time, stay safe, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.